Welcome back to another segment of Michigan Conservative Roundtable. My name's TJ. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'd like to welcome all our new subscribers. Thanks, everyone. Just yesterday, I read an article that really pulled at the heartstrings. It involves a doctor. We have all heard his name. His last name begins with an F, and I believe it ends with an I. We know who this guy is. Well, in any event, both the Gateway Pundit and the Right Scoop had news reports of this doctor's involvement in some ghoulish experiments conducted on dogs. Those new to this channel here, just be advised, we're all pretty much animal lovers here at the Michigan Conservative Roundtable. And I would say that while we're animal lovers, we are not animal rights activists, but we all have pets, and we all have a deep appreciation for the animals that we've been blessed to have in our lives. I personally was blessed to grow up with the same dog from the time I was 3 or 4 all the way until I was 16 years old. Had the same dog, and then at which time, unfortunately, she passed of a heart attack. I met my wife late in life, and now, thanks to my wife, I'm now a cat guy. So I grew up a dog guy, now I'm a cat guy. We have Mac. He's got a handsome little dachshund by the name of Walter. Kim, she's got herself a beast of an animal there. Mr. Thirsty, he's got a dog or two. Rick helps fill in for us occasionally on the panel. He too has himself a dog. So we all here at the Michigan Conservative Roundtable, we all have this love of animals here. So when I read what the doctor had done to 28 beagles in the desert of Tunisia, it sickened me, and it did more than that. But I don't. In any event, these medical experiments were conducted in which the beagles were sedated. They were tied down with their heads inside of a mesh netting enclosure. They had sandflies that they say they had starved them, deprived them of any kind of food. So they had these sandflies that were starved, let them loose inside of these mesh nettings so that they would feast on these poor animals' heads. I'm not going to show you the pictures. The Gateway Pundit on 10/24/21 at 3 p.m., that news release there, it's got a couple pictures. If you want to see how they did it or what they did, by all means, go to that news story. I just don't want to risk YouTube pulling this video for beating up their guy, okay? And then there were other scenarios where the dogs were caged, not always sedated, out in the desert, left to endure the attacks of the sandflies out there in the desert. Because they weren't sedated, reports of them howling in agony as the sandflies were feasting on them then. They chose beagles because the beagles were less aggressive and less likely to fight back. I read that. That sickened me. Of course, they're saying that these medical experiments were conducted in an effort to ascertain medical information regarding the types of diseases that these sandflies might inflict upon their victims. There's an organization called White Coat Waste Project. Upon discovery, began making known that these experiments had taken place. It is believed that these experiments were taxpayer funded at around $735,000. The tests were conducted over a 3-month time frame. Afterwards, all the beagles were euthanized. Finally. One argument against doing this to the beagles was that they already had the scientific data since they had already done similar experiments on mice, gerbils, and monkeys. Meaning that these poor dogs, they didn't even really need to endure this torture. They do it just for confirmation. And I'll tell you this too, being an animal lover, I'm not exactly comfortable with them doing it to the monkeys either. They did this to man's best friend. My gosh. And one of the more docile breeds while they're at it. You know, it's just reading this really infuriated me, and it reminded me of man's cruelty. Dare I incorporate theological beliefs here and suggest that perhaps what we're looking at is the sinfulness of mankind. But should we really be shocked? I mean, we're talking about a society today that's perfectly okay with abortion. And if they're okay with abortion, then why should it matter that 28 beagle puppies were tortured in the course of a medical experiment? That's it. I just had to vent on this one. If I hadn't heard it from so many different sources, I'd probably have trouble believing this. But anyways, that's it. I'm done. Talk to you in the next one. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.